Today on SFA Now, we will be talking to Millards Crossing newest executive director and some of the community events held by them. So don't go anywhere because you're now watching SFA Now.
Hello there, my name is Jordan Schaefer. Today we will be talking to Jesse Pinker, the new executive director at Millards Crossing. How are you today, Jesse?
I'm doing great. I'm excited to be here.
Good. Do you mind telling us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, so I am a recent graduate of SFA. I finished with my undergrad in 2015, and that was in hospitality administration, so tourism and events. And I decided I wanted to go back. I wasn't done learning, and so here I am in mass communication going online, and I'm set to finish around spring 2020. But in other news, I just got a new job at this new Millards Crossing. I'm the new executive director out there, and so that's been taking up most of my time these days.
How has it impacted your life so far since you've started there?
It's been busier. I've always had two jobs since I was 16, but having a big job where you're there all the time, I've been getting about 60 hours a week, and so it has been kind of a change, balancing the school and the classes with the work.
Right. Can you tell us more about what Millards Crossing is?
Yeah, Millards Crossing is a historic village on the north side of town. It was founded 50 years ago this year. And Lara Millard, she lived on the property and had a bunch of antiques. And so originally she just started bringing houses onto the property to put her antiques in. And as she kept saving houses and it became more prominent in the area, people said, wow, we would like to buy a ticket and see what you have there. And so she opened it up to the public, and we are still there today, just showing off our history and telling the story of how Nacogdoches came to be.
Now, before we went on, you said that Millards Crossing's been around for 50 years.
Yes.
Are y'all doing anything special to get ready for that, or like the 50th anniversary, I guess? Is anything special?
We are. So she started this year, and really she didn't finish opening up the business until about August. So from spring to the fall, she was getting everything ready, getting her business documents together. And so we are thinking about having some kind of dance or some kind of rededication on someday in August. But right now we're working towards, we just renovated our barn and kind of sprucing things up, and just, we want to last 50 more years. And so that's been our main goal this year.
Nice. Sorry. We're actually prepared a package that we're going to play right now.
Millards Crossing is a historical village found here in Nacogdoches. But what is a historical village? Well, Millards Crossing is made up of a bunch of different antique houses. These houses act like museums, showing off different items found in their respected time period. For example, there is a doctor's office that can be found at Millards Crossing. In the doctor's office, you can find an old-timey wheelchair, an operating table, and a bunch of other equipment that they would use back in the day. Also, in another building, you can find a furnished kitchen with all the latest appliances that would be found during the colonial era. Most of these houses have the Texas Historical Commission's seal of approval, showing that these buildings are historically accurate.
Welcome back. If you're just now joining us, I'm Jordan Schaefer. This is Jesse Pinker. Now, this is a question I've been waiting to ask you since we started. What are you wearing?
This is my Pioneer Woman outfit, and I was giving a school tour before I got here, and I've got to go finish a school tour when I get off. And so this is what I wear when we lead people around and just show them the village, and it really helps them get into character and kind of do the things that they do.
Are there variations, or is that pretty much like your uniform for when kids or anyone comes to tour?
So we have different ones for volunteers to wear. This one was actually made specifically for me. They got my wrist measurements. They said I had really tiny wrists. But this one was made for my body, and I'm getting a few more made right now. They're going to make me a full-length dress, because this is a skirt and shirt combo. And then hopefully by Halloween, I'll have a full corset and be able to do a Victorian outfit. And so I'm excited for the costumes.
What do the kids do on the field trips?
It kind of varies depending on how many you bring and what ages they are, but I know we love to make homemade butter. They get to shake it up and bring it home with them. They get to play the piano in our church. They get to shell and grind corn and just live like it would be in the olden days. And so they get to plow our garden, do laundry. It just kind of depends on where their interest level is. But today, they're out there getting a blacksmith demonstration, so it's a fun day.
Nice. We're going to switch gears a little bit. How long have you been an executive director?
I have been an executive director for just 1 month, last week, so it's very fresh to me. But for the last 2 years, I was an assistant to an executive director, so I felt like this was really the next step for me.
Nice. What can you elaborate on some of the responsibilities that you have?
Yeah, so when I got the job, I said, what is a normal day going to look like? And they said, when you have one, let us know what it looks like, because it's going to be a little bit of everything. And so last week, I was mulching our gardens, I was fixing floors, and it just kind of depends on the day, but mostly school tours and just telling our story to the community.
What events have you worked on since you started working at Millards Crossing?
So my very first event just finished. We had a Easter egg hunt. It was our 16th annual Easter egg hunt, but my very first one. So we had about 500 kids that came. We had 2 food trucks and over 7,000 eggs this year. So we're hoping it's bigger and bigger every year, but this was the most eggs and kids that we've seen out there.
Do you mind elaborating on the Easter egg hunt? Like what all?
Yeah, so we had, it started with a special needs self-paced hunt in the morning. It wasn't very popular, but that ended up being our late hunt in the afternoon. Besides that, we had 3 different age groups that each got to hunt their own set of eggs. That way they weren't kind of getting in each other's positions. And we had a balloon artist. He came and did different, I don't know if you'd call him a balloon artist. His name's Dr. Rainbow. You should look him up. But he was great. We had just a ton of people out there helping us and a petting zoo. It was a fabulous time.
What are some of the challenges you faced trying to come up with this event, or planning the event rather?
Every event that we have at Millards Crossing is mostly put on by volunteers, and so finding good volunteers that'll come out and work hard is always a struggle, but I think that we really were blessed to have a great team this time, and it went really smoothly.
That's good. What are other events that you'll have going on or you're planning right now for Millards Crossing?
So Saturday, June 8th is our second Blueberry Jam event ever, and I get to plan that one, and so we've already started securing bands. This happens after the Blueberry Festival that takes place all day long. So our event is from 6 to 9 to kind of wind down, and we're going to have a bunch of blues bands out there. So y'all should come check it out for sure. It's from 6 to 9, Saturday, June 8th.
June 8th. Okay, so that definitely sounds fun. What has been your favorite event so far that you've worked on, or that you've probably been to even before you worked at Millards Crossing?
Yeah, you know, what really sparked my interest and just made me fall in love with it was their Halloween events. They do an old-fashioned Christmas and a Victorian Halloween event every year. And I went with my family, and as soon as my little brother saw the headless horseman that they had, where the costume covered their head, he just fell in love with it, and it was a good time. And so I think that was my favorite event and just sparked my interest.
Nice. Since you've been at SFA, how has your academic experience and past work experience prepared you to work at Millards Crossing?
Oh, I couldn't do it without my training here. I think that the event planning and tourism side of things get me through. My undergrad is perfect for this position, but really what sets me above the competition, I think, is my mass communications degree that I'm working on. Just being able to market them and get them out in the community, I think, has been a really big help.
Can you tell us more about the Blueberry event you were talking about earlier?
Yeah, so we're still in the early planning stages. I know that we're going to have a Chambers Smokehouse, if I'm not wrong, is going to be there. That's the food truck, and Snowme's Ice. We're going to have Hubcap and the Loose Nuts is our headlining band right now. That's actually my grandpa's band, and he was at Wine Swirl, if anybody came there. But they'll be there, and we're hoping on a few other bands that are local. We've talked to just a couple, but I don't want to name any names before they confirm. So.
Yeah. You worked on Wine Swirl, right? But it wasn't with Millards Crossing. It was with when you worked at Main Street, or was it the
Yes.
city of Nacogdoches?
City of Nacogdoches is the main street. They work together, and so I worked there for 2 years, and I got a lot of event planning experience there. But I think it really helps transfer over for sure.
Definitely. Can you tell us about the wine swirl?
Yeah, the
And how
wine
that
swirl.
Went.
It has been just an ongoing event in the community for as long as I've been here. I believe they're on their 7th year this year. We've already started planning the next one, so the numbers kind of run together. But
Yeah.
it was a lot of fun. We had over 1,000 attendees this year. We had a little bit of bad weather in the last couple of years, but it was great this year, and so I think that it was a really nice time.
Nice. So for Millards Crossing, what are some things you hope to accomplish with your time there?
I am so glad you asked. So, with the 50th year coming up, we have got some big things in the work. First of all, our Rebellion Barn has just been mostly renovated. We just got a little bit more money to finish our deck. But once that's finished, it's going to be the newest, coolest event venue in Nacogdoches. You have to check it out. Beyond that, we are rebuilding a cotton gin to put on the property, and that would be fully functioning. I don't know how often we would actually run it, but it would be able to pull cotton and actually show you how one would work, the machinery-wise. And so we're hoping to do that. We were wanting to build a new visitor center. We've got a lot of projects in the work, a playground even. And so as we come up on the 50th year, we really want to just show that we can do a lot more and, stay fresh in everybody's mind.
Now, you were talking about the cotton gin earlier. Do you have
Yes.
any other cool types of machinery that you guys are rebuilding or have to show off to people?
Yeah, so we have an old corn crib that actually has been taken into 2 pieces, and half of it is our blacksmith shop. And so we've got a full forge. That's just a fun thing to do always. But as far as big machinery goes, that's something I feel like we've been lacking. And so having the cotton gin there, I think, is really going to help us out.
That's good. What do there's a kitchen in one of the houses. Does it actually work?
Yes, our kitchens do work, and all of our fireplaces, except for I believe one house doesn't have the fireplace working, but we've restored them completely to where they are fully functioning like a living village.
I'm sure it's hard work restoring those.
It is. It is. It is expensive, and it is hard to do because there's no instructions. No one said, this is how you do it, and here's the instructions. They just
Right.
did it, and so
Yeah.
we're kind of trying to put back together what they built.
Now, do people actually live in houses, or can they actually live in the houses, or is it more of just a touristy area?
It's more of just a touring area, but we are trying to turn one of our houses into a bed and breakfast, an Airbnb, and so they would be able to stay there or even get married on the property and use that as a honeymoon area. And so we're kind of trying to convert that to where you can stay.
Yeah. Have people got married there before, or is that something y'all are working on?
We have a chapel on property, and so a lot of people do get married in there, or they would get married in the yard in front of it. And so we've always been a great place for weddings, but with the barn, we have more space. It's a more covered area. You can fit more people. I just think it's a great addition.
Do you get to plan the weddings, or what? How does that work?
We can. We offer to help in any way that they need, but for the most part, they just use us to rent the venue. They usually use University to rent all of the chairs and decorations, and then we kind of bring it together. But we're happy to help in any kind of way, and so we've even helped get the bands coordinated to where they wanted old-fashioned music in an old-fashioned village, and so we used some of our contacts and helped them get the musicians.
That's nice. Do you hope to plan more weddings during your time there? Is that something you enjoy? Like,
I like weddings, but I like other events more. I think that community-wide events are where my heart is, and so doing the big stuff is where I'm at.
well, that's nice. Well, thank you for coming in. Unfortunately, our time is up. Thanks once again.
Yeah.
Thank you for coming.
Thanks for having me.
Is there anything else you want to add on before we leave, or?
Just come out and see me. I'd love to talk to y'all. We need more volunteers always.
Nice. Well, thanks for coming. Stay tuned for the next. Stay tuned for the next episode of SFA Now. I'm Jordan Schaefer.
Thank you.